All right, guys, I just want to take a moment. And again, I want to just say, great job, Megan. Love the training over there. It was so good. It was such a deep dive and really gave people actionable things that you can literally do as you take away Thursday and really build on what we've already shared. For those of you maybe that are just joining the VIP, I do want to remind you, and Jane will go ahead and drop in the comments how you access your members area. So if you want to take a screenshot or a little copy and paste, I know that sometimes this can be a little bit of a challenge. So want to make sure we have that there for you. And what I'd love to do is I'd love to have Charlotte, if you don't mind, you don't even know I'm calling on you, but you had an incredible win with using some of the things that we practiced right away. And we know that if people take action and implement this, they get results. So Charlotte, would you be willing to come off mute and tell the group just what you did and what your result was?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, well, your boot camp, it made me on fire. So all the energy, a few months ago, I lost it, my fire, and now your lessons are so, good for me. Like, oh yes, this is what I wanted to hear and I needed to hear. So yeah, I'm get back into action. And I had a few conversations with the people from my stories. I noticed they watched it all the time. So I just popped up the question like, hey, I see you have a lot of you're watching me all the time. Let me tell you something about it. And that came out successfully. And I followed the steps by asking a lot of questions. And that was, most of the time I was really like pushing, like, hey, I want you in my team. And now I'm just asking the questions. And I think that's a really big win for me.
Isn't that amazing? And so you actually implemented some of the things that we're
Yeah.
training and you recruited. Woo! Let's give it up for Charlotte. This is so
Thank
huge.
you.
I love that. You know,
Yeah,
guys,
I'm from Holland. Sorry, my English is not the best, but
oh, you know what? It's great. And I have to just say this, guys, when you look at like where you are, or maybe where some of your team members are, and look at the shift that Charlotte made. What did she really do? She went from that place of I need, right? Which is a fear-based place, because there's really only two emotions. There's fear and there's love, and everything falls under those two emotions. So Charlotte literally shifted from the fear-based place into a service place, right? The service place. She began asking her prospect questions, going from, you need to do this is so great, blah, 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 right? Kind of like all about my company or all about me. And we've all been there, to how can I help you? What most interests you? Tell me a little bit more about that problem you're experiencing. And Charlotte recruited, and we're on day 4. So does what we train work? Absolutely. And I'm so grateful, Charlotte, that you wrote me that note. I'm very proud of you. And I'm sure many of you here are having incredible results. Before I bring on Christina Whiteley, is there anyone else who wants to share about something that they've experienced just in these first 4 days? Anybody? We'd love to hear from you.
Well, I can go, Lorraine,
Yeah, Lorraine.
Montreal. Yeah, I just did it. I just, a couple of hours ago, someone from this group also asked me to talk about our product to one of her prospects. And all we ended up to do is talk about him. I asked them about him, talk about him, and about what he's doing, what is his struggles. And I showed him a bit of what we have, but just at the end. And I think, and also person that introduced me, I asked her to tell her story. She told her story. And I think he left very enthusiastic. I think she has a more than a prospect now.
Isn't that awesome? All right. Well, I have to just say, whoops, let's see here. There we go. Let's bring Lorraine back on. I don't know what's going on with my anyone help me out here? Multi-speaker me? I don't know what's going on. It's going a little crazy over here. Anyway, Lorraine, I just have to say, incredible job. Really what you are hearing Lorraine share is that somebody within her organization, whether it be her downline or a sideline, brought her in probably to a three-way chat to help support that person uncovering what they wanted. And, you know, it sounds like you also, Lorraine, went from a place of telling to more of a place of inquisitive. What's going on with you? What do you want? Right? Seeking to understand that prospect. And boy, guys, when we do that, you are going to unpack more information than you ever thought possible. So I just have to say, great job to everyone. I know there's many of you that are experiencing, you know, results, and we always want to hear about it. So one thing I want to encourage you to do is join the recap tonight over in the Facebook group, and I'll have Jane drop the Facebook group just in case you're not in there. I always know that sometimes, you know, there's a lot of places to go and people to see. So just in case you don't have that link or not in there yet, Jane will go ahead and drop that right in the comments below. Wow. Let's shake it off. Everybody, do you go grab some water or run to the bathroom? I know I've been like muting, telling my granddaughter, turn down those damn cartoons, you know? I live in a loft type place, so it's like open concept. So I'm hearing Princess Diaries all the while I'm hearing Megan. So let's take a moment and just breathe. Let's just everybody just kind of take a breath in and release. Let's just kind of reset. Let's do it one more time. Take a nice breath in and reset. Let's do it one more time. 3 times the charm. Isn't it amazing how just 3 deep breaths can completely shift your energy? It can slow us down just a little bit. It can allow us to remember what we want to bring in and also what we want to release. All right, guys, I'm super excited to introduce you again to Christina Whiteley. Christina Whiteley, I want to just, I'm going off the cuff before I give her formal introduction, but I have to tell you that when I joined my 4th network marketing company about 2.5 years ago, I had seen this woman's content, and I'll tell you what I saw. I saw her heart beaming through her content. And I was like, you know what? I want to know her. I want to be around her because she's my kind of gal. I got to meet her in person at my first convention with this company, and she was exactly what she shows you on Facebook. She's a warm-hearted, wonderful person, in addition to being ready, an award-winning business freedom leader. She's a business coach and she's a mindset mentor. She has a podcast as well as she's authored 2 best-selling books, and she has transformed countless lives guiding entrepreneurs to success. Christina's a 7-figure earner who truly is passionate about helping her team members and being that beacon, that light that truly desires to empower others. And she does this in so many ways. I don't know if all of you know her, but you're going to know her now because she's going to really train us around follow-up and how to 10x our business using incredible follow-up tools. So Christina, I would love for you to come on here. I'm going to pull you on up here. Where are you? There we go. And
Hi.
how are you, babe?
Good.
All right.
I get like a little teary when people talk about it, like about, you know, when you introduced me, because, you know, I never knew that this was possible for me. I never imagined in my wildest dreams that any of this was possible for me. You know, I'm a small town girl from the west coast of Canada. I grew up in a small mill town on the coast with about 15,000 people. And everybody knew everybody's business. I was taught and sold the dream, like many of you guys, you know, go to work, get good grades, go to university, get a degree with a well-paying job, pension, healthcare, work out your 30 years and retire. And to me, just because of who I was, that kind of sounded like a death sentence. And I don't mean that disrespectfully to anybody that has a job or a career, because we need those people out there. And I really honor that. But I always had an entrepreneur's heart. I started my first business when I was 7. And I went around, I made my own candles, and I went around and I sold them to my neighbors in my little red wagon. Like I always had that spirit of helping people and making them smile and doing good in the world. And I was being called for this. And I didn't know how to explain that because all my family thought I was crazy. They're like, what's gotten into you? You have this incredible work ethic. And I'm like, now I can say it's the voice of the Holy Spirit that works intuitively through me, right? That I just can't turn it off. So I found network marketing almost 8 years ago now. And it was because I hit rock bottom. It's because I had a career as a hairstylist and owned a salon, an award-winning on-site wedding business. I absolutely loved what I did. I loved the people that I helped. I loved the relationships that I got to build, which, you know, is part of the reason that I'm excited to teach you about follow-up, because really follow-up is just simply building relationships and having conversations. And I really enjoyed that career, but late into my pregnancy, had a really bad shoulder injury, was unable to continue working, and had a little baby on the way. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? And I saw a girl posting on social media, and I was like, man, like that looks like the life that I want to live, but I don't know how to do it. How many of you have wanted somebody else's life and seen what they're doing and be like, "Ah, I could never do that," or like, oh, that's great for her or great for him? But what I didn't realize at the time was that, oh, I'm sorry. Is it really
Christina,
blurry?
I didn't want to interrupt you. I was just going to say,
yeah.
could you, there we go. Okay. I was
Good, 'cause I wanna
Let's
put
get
you in
into
there
it,
we
okay?
go.
Ah,
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All
okay.
right. Now
Just give it
everybody's
there.
happy.
It's the sun change. The sun
Yeah.
changed. So there's
Okay.
just a ray of light
A
around
ray
me.
of
Okay.
light.
I
Good.
apologize.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.
You're good. Here we
And
go.
so
Let me
I
get
just realized, you know, you look at these other people and you think, why can't I be like that? Or I could never be like that. Or I'm not good at this. How many times have you said it in your own silly head? I'm not good at this. I'm not good at follow up. I'm not good at reaching out to people. I'm not good at sales, right? And so this starts to be the story that you believe. But the minute that I realized that I had the capacity to learn and get better was the minute that everything changed. Then I wasn't looking at other people and wishing and hoping and praying that I would be like them one day. I was like, man, I'm going to get in there and do the work and learn how to be like them. I'm going to ask them really great questions and figure out what they're doing differently than me. You know, how come I don't have those kind of sales, or how come I'm not able to overcome the objections? It's simply a learned skill in communication. Okay, that is it. So now I'm going to get into the nitty gritty with you guys. Okay, I want to share a few things because, man, Megan did such a great job, didn't she, with your social media stuff? And so what's really cool is that it starts with how you show up on social media. Like Joan said, she found me and she aligned with my heart, right? So follow up is simply conversation and building relationships with people. That's all follow up is, right? As a Canadian, I want to say that when I first got into the industry, I was like, man, following up, I don't want to bug anybody. I'm so sorry. I don't want to bug you. And I would tread lightly, right? But really, people are looking at their phones in the middle of the grocery store, when they're dropping their kids off at school, when they're going to catch a flight. Their people are busy, right? And I want to be able to connect with them in a way that at some point in time, I lead them down the line to a decision, whether that's a decision to buy or a decision to refer me. Okay. Those are the two decisions you get. You don't get a decision to buy or not to buy. It's to buy or to refer me if you can't use the product or the business, right? And so it's just a matter of portraying that to your audience, and your social media does matter, right? It matters in your follow-up too, believe it or not, because that consistency in which you show up is how well received your follow-up will be. The more value you put out there, the more you inspire people, the more excited they are to talk to you, right? They want to connect with you if you're exciting and inspiring and you add value to their lives. And when you connect with them in their DM, if you're somebody that continues to come up on their news feeds, which by the way, all that takes is touching base with them, commenting on their posts. If you engage with their social media, they're going to start seeing you more in the news feed, right? You're going to be top of mind, which I'm going to talk about in a second. But really, it's just a matter of exposure. And so your bio on your social media page, we talked a little bit about niche marketing and branding. Your bio is your business card. Okay. When people go to your Facebook page, do they know what you do and who you serve? And then your content is your resume, how you show up, your heart, what you stand for, right? And so I'm so glad you got this training from Megan today because it works alongside this. She talked about prospects being leads, right? And leads simply become conversations and connections that we have what I like to call coffee shop talk. Okay, so I want to describe that to you. When you go into a coffee shop and you see an old friend, or you go back to your old hometown, right? And you walk into a coffee shop and you see somebody you haven't seen in years, how does that conversation go? Usually it's like, oh my God, I haven't seen you forever. It's amazing. Tell me about your family. Tell me about your kids. What are you doing for work these days? Do you have any plans for the summer? What have you done recently? What are you focusing on? Right? And you have this little like 5-minute catch up. And the reason this is so important to understand is it's simply a coffee shop talk, right? Because you have to get to the ask. You have to be able to have a conversation and invite them to see some of the information that you have, whether it's your product or business. I had a mentor and a friend a long time ago say, why buy the burger if you can sell the franchise? Right? So, like, why sell people on a burger when you can show them the franchise that they could make their own burgers and sell? Right? And so, it's just a matter of finding a way to position the conversation. I do this all the time, whether I'm in the airport, whether we're at a family gathering, right? I was just at a family gathering with 60 people and had multiple conversations about their kids and how my product could align with that. And so, it's just a matter of asking the right questions. Okay. And I also want to share my exact reach out strategy to complement what was shared today, if that's okay with you. Okay. I hope that's okay. So I'm going to share just a really quick message in the chat. And this is so because I want you to be able to copy and paste. So this is if anybody comments on your posts. I just want you to be able to start conversation here, okay? If there's somebody that you know comments on your post, and it could be a post about your business, it could be a post about the product, it could be a post about your family. It doesn't matter. It's just to create conversation. That is it, right? Be a professional conversation starter. That's what I was as a hairstylist. People would sit in my chair. I'd have to get to know them very, very quickly. And I'd have to get them to know them well enough to trust me to come back, right? That's the goal. So here's another one. If you've never talked to somebody, right? This is how we connect. If you are somebody that maybe have run out of things to talk about, maybe you don't have anybody commenting on your stuff. That's okay, right? Some people will post and say, I don't have anybody commenting or nobody liking it. That's okay. Go through your friends list and send this. I'm giving you all the hacks, okay? This is legit. And by the way, this is how I talk. Believe it or not, this is like really how I speak to people. But you can shift and change these. You have to craft a message that feels good to send or you won't send it. Capiche? Right? Makes sense. You won't do the work if the message feels gross or icky or I don't know what, you know. So I really want to be able to share this with you because you not number one, you have to start the conversation to begin the follow-up. Okay. It has to be started. Now I'm going to give you the goods. I'm going to give you what I've used to follow up for years. The same 2 messages for years. And I'm going to share those in the comments. You can copy them, you can do whatever you like, but I want to share those really quickly with you because I want you to be able to use these as well, right? I'm not gatekeeping here. I'm just going to tell you how to win. So the reason I'm sending this to you is because the goal is not to sell or close. How many of you have gotten ghosted, right? Ooh, guess what? I still get ghosted sometimes. And you know why you get ghosted? Because you're in a hurry with a sale or a goal and you push the sale. Ouch. I know that hurts, but I need you to hear it because then I don't want you to get ghosted again, right? And so the goal is not to sell or close. The goal is to reignite the conversation and learn more. That's it. That's what the goal is, right? So let's talk about the importance of follow-up and why you need to dial this in right now if you want to win, because the only difference between you and the person at the top of the comp plan, your company, is this, and I can promise you this, okay? Excuse me as the plane flies overhead as I'm in beautiful BC outside. My little one has a fever for the first time, so is inside with the hubby and he's managing that. So I apologize for the outside noise. Okay, so on average, only 2% of the sales are made during the first point of contact. So for those of you that never follow up, only 2%, 2 people out of 100 messages are going to buy. And that means if you don't follow up, even with a simple follow-up message, you are missing out on potentially 98% of your sales. 98%, my friends. If this is the only skill you master, you will win, okay? Unfortunately, due to the fear of rejection or a difficult sales process, we talked a little bit about that with Megan, right? Or lack of sales automation, most salespeople never follow up with prospects, right? When their email or social media.
Come back in 2 weeks. He said it didn't make sense.
Let's just get
It would cost
somebody
me more
muted on
money
the
and cost
side.
me more time if he
Hold on a
started
sec.
the other ones versus doing them all at one time because I have to get
Hey, Darla,
imprints
can
done
you
and
please
then
mute
come
yourself?
back. And
Darla,
he says if he does imprints on the other one, then I want
Sorry. Was working on it for you. Sorry.
Bueller. Okay, that just totally dated me, but here we are. Okay. So most people never follow up with prospects, and when emails or social medias go unread or phone calls go ignored, right, or text messages, 44% of salespeople give up after that first attempt, and only 8% of salespeople follow up more than 5 times. You want to be in the top 8% of your company? Follow up more than 5 times, okay? Most noticeably is this fact. At any given time, only 3% of your market is actively buying. So 3 out of 100 people. Another 56% of people are not ready, while 40% are poised to begin the buying process. And I want to tell you a really important statistic for you to remember. People on average say no 4 times before they say yes. They're going to say, no, not right now. I'm not ready. I can't make it. I'm so sorry, right? Maybe next time. They say 4 on average, no, or they say no 4 times on average, okay? So the percentages of sales that are made on the first contact, the first time you contact is 2%. The second follow-up, add another 3%, that's 5%. The third contact, add another 5%. So we're still only at 10% of the sales being done in 3 points of contact, okay? The fourth contact adds another 10%. Okay, now we're at 20% of your sales in 4 contacts. The 5th to 12th contact, 80% of your sales will be made in those contacts, okay? This is why learning how to follow up and build relationships is so important without getting ghosted. So because of the skepticism that's going on in the marketplace and the lack of disposable income that people have in this economy, this number is even higher. People need to see your product, whether it's in stories or posts, I'll go over that in a minute, up to 30 times before they make a buying decision. So whether they see your name in a comment, whether they see your post about your product, your story, your reel, conversations about it, up to 35 conversations need to be had before they gather enough information to buy and trust you enough to buy, okay? So if this doesn't make you realize why following up is so important, I hope the rest of what I say does, okay? If you follow up with a lead and you send a video, maybe some information for them within 5 minutes. So say you're like, hey, I want to share a video about my product with you. Can you watch it right now? If you follow up within 5 minutes of them watching that video, you are 9 times more likely to convert them. 9 times, okay? 30 to 50% of the sales go to the vendor that responds first. So how many of you have multiple people that sell the same product on your social media? But if you are not the person that responds first to somebody's inquiry and continues to be top of mind, you miss out on 30 to 50% of the sales because somebody else will. Somebody else will follow up with them. Or they'll come in and they've had a conversation with somebody else. Have you ever had this happen? You've been talking to somebody and haven't been consistent on your follow-ups, and somebody comes in and swoops in. And they're like, oh, my friend is selling that now, so I bought from them. And you're like, what? Right? Just kicks ya. So you have to be diligent and have some sort of organized system that drip markets, drip campaigns on them so that you are top of mind all the time and you become known for your product or business. Okay. So number one, sales reps who are active on social media get 45% more sales opportunities than those that aren't. Number two, sales reps that use social media as a sales channel, so actually sell, actually talk about products, are 51% more likely to hit their sales quotas than those that don't. 98% of sales reps with more than 5,000 social media connections will meet or surpass their quotas because they have a big audience. So building your social media connection is really important. And 78% of salespeople who use social media perform better than their peers. So I'm just reiterating why you need to listen to what Megan said today and build a strong social media brand. Okay. You're going to win more than everybody else. 44% of salespeople will give up after one follow-up attempt. 44%. Okay. And again, I want to make this very clear. 92% of the salespeople that give up after no sales will have 60% of customers say yes if they follow up 4 times. Okay. So how do you make your follow-up less spammy and more helpful? How many of you guys have put out freebies out there, or you've put out content that adds value without trying to sell something, right? That is so helpful in building trust with people. And I constantly look at this as building a relationship. So not every point of contact has to be reminding somebody of a purchase or a sale or why you initially started talking, right? You got to learn to ask better questions. Learn to ask them how they're feeling today, how their summer is going, right? Paint a bigger picture for them. When they ask you that back, paint a bigger picture. Maybe some of you have earned incentive trips and are going to talk about, well, in the fall, we're going to do this, or in the summer, we're doing this. Paint a bigger picture for them, a bigger vision, drop hints along the way in a way that isn't selling them, but is just, this is part of your life. This is what the benefits are of being able to work with you, right? And you have to show people that you care, not just show them that you care because you want their sale, but show them that you actually care, right? Something bad happens to them, make sure that you're the person that reaches out and offers condolences, right? Make sure that you're checking their social media pages before you send them a follow-up message, because if you're sending them a follow-up message about a sale that's happening today and their dog just died, that's pretty insensitive, isn't it? Right? So you want to make sure that you show people that you care and always make it about them. It's not about you and your goals. It's about leading them to the decision that is best for them, right? If we can get them excited, if we can bring them on board, if they start to see the vision that we have, they're going to say yes. And when somebody's wholehearted in something and they say yes, they're going to be all in, as opposed to if you've kind of convinced them and they're skeptical, not only are they not going to take product consistently, they're not going to show up for their business because they're going to be unsure. They got to be excited, right? And I also want to tell you, sometimes we govern ourselves in the follow-up, right? And so even, for example, I saw a post from a friend the other day, and she was talking about how exhausted she was after training for a triathlon. And I reached out to her and I said, tell me more about your training schedule. Tell me what, are you on a nutrition program? Yes, of course, that's great. And so I wanted to learn a little bit more about what that was like. And then here's the thing, upselling isn't about making more money. It's about helping them get a result faster. The faster they get a result, right? 75% of people who will continue to buy and evolve with your programs, your customer programs, if you get them a quick win within the month. So if you have like a weight loss program and it's multiple products, but somebody says, oh, well, I can only afford one. Okay, but I want to let you know with these multiple products, you're going to get results in like 2 to 3 months. Whereas if you just use the one product, it's going to be 6 months. It's going to cost you more long term, right? Than it would if we just got the result you wanted. And isn't that the whole point? Get it faster, right? And so here are a couple of things that can help you connect. And this is all part of follow-up, believe it or not, right? When you are posting daily, right? Posting 3 times a week about your product or service, not necessarily in stagnant posts, but in your stories, you can sell like mad in your stories. Okay. You can sell every day in your stories. Repetition wins. You might think, oh, they don't want to see it anymore. They need to see it, remember, 35 times before they buy. And maybe they were having a really good day. And then all of a sudden somebody, something happens. Life changes every 3 to 6 months. right? Maybe they have this realization that all of a sudden they have to get their health on track. And they're like, wow, okay, today is the day. And I've seen Christina posting about this for 2 years, right? Or 6 years or 8 years, right? It happens. The only way that you lose in this game is if you quit. I can promise you that. Okay. So we start reaching out to people. Anybody who likes or comments, we start a conversation with. I just gave you messages that you can do that with, right? So no excuses now. You have to reach out and start that conversation. For me, this is how I get organized. The first 10 days of the month, okay, I send 10 new conversations each day. Every first 10 days of the month, okay? Brand new conversations with people I actually want to work with, people I actually think I could help with a product or service that I have, right? That's 100 conversations you're starting in the first part of the month. Then you have 10 days to nurture them. Then you have 10 days to round them up and bring them on in, okay? And by the way, not everybody is going to buy. So we just move those on to the next month and the next month. And maybe they buy in 6 months, maybe they buy in a year. But the goal is to add people to your list. It is not to sell on a daily basis. It's just to build the list, right? Because at the end of the month, when you have a sale and you've got 3 people that say they're going to buy from you because that's the only 3 people you have on the list, it's going to be really challenging to not hammer them with your sale. But if you have 100 people on the list and you go back and you reignite the conversations, there is a heck of a lot more that you can do to start those conversations, move them through, see where we're at. And if you have 100 people on your list every month and you learn how to segregate that list, let me talk about that for a second, right? Your hot leads that want to buy right away, your warm leads that are interested and can't buy right now, and then your cold leads that you're moving into warm or hot, then it doesn't matter where they are in that cycle. You've just got a massive list at the end of the month, right? And you just continue to go through this list and nurture relationships over the years. It's decades, my friends. But if you want to know how to bring in big earners, if you want to know how to recruit top recruiters, it's building relationships with them over time, because they're not just going to join Joe Blow that they see post about their opportunity one time. They're going to join people that they actually like, people that increase their odds of winning, right? And then you actually have to ask. Okay, you actually have to ask. You can't just make friends for 6 weeks and then hope that they see a post. You have to say, you know what? Hey, I know we've been chatting. I know, right? And I'm going to give you an example in the coffee shop conversation too. I know that we've been chatting for a little while. I never even thought of this, but on the side, I've been building this extra stream of income. And I don't know if this is of any interest to you. Actually, it may or may not be, but you might know somebody that would be perfect for this. But is it okay if I share some information with you and see if it resonates with you like it resonated with me? Do I sound like spammy, gross, weird when I'm saying that? No, right? Same thing goes when you have that coffee shop conversation. Hey, so great to see you, man. I'm so glad we ran into each other. Right at that moment when you're about to part ways. This happens on social media too, where we get all awkward and we don't know where to put our hands, right? We're like, what do we do? When do I ask? Right? You know the skit, Joan. So like, what are we going to do here, right? It's that instant, that little intuition that says ask. Do not ignore that. That is God telling you to ask. That is the universe telling you to ask. That is that little nudge that's pushing you over the edge to ask. Because if you don't ask, there will not be a conversation about it, and you could be the answer to their prayers today. Okay? So that little conversation is, hey, it was so great to catch up with you. Oh my gosh, it was lovely to see you. I love hearing about your kids. Hey, this is super random. What are you doing tomorrow night at 6 p.m.? And they'll say, I don't know what, I'd love to share something with you. I don't want to get wrapped up in it right now, but I'd love to share something with you. Is it okay if I grab your phone number and I'll just send you a quick text tomorrow and we can catch up tomorrow at 6? And then you can invite them to an overview. You can share, you can get on a Zoom with them and share a little bit more about what you're doing, the product. You could bring in a third-party validation. You could bring in an upline or a friend or a sponsor and say, hey, let's have this conversation. Right? I want to share this with you. It might not resonate with you. Give them an out. If you give people an out, hey, it might not be the right time to buy the product, but I just wanted to let you know we have 30% off today. I just want to let you know because I want you to have the best price, right? Always do what's best for them. Always. Hey, I totally get it. It's not on the budget right now. Hey, would it be okay if I kept in touch with you and let you know next time we have another sale? I definitely do not want to bother you. I don't want to overwhelm you. I don't want to be a pain in the butt. Okay. But I would love to share that with you because I think it's going to make a massive difference in your life.
Sorry,
Okay.
I'm over here taking notes too. I'm like, boom, boom, boom. Would it be okay if I stay in touch with you for next time? Say that again?
Yeah, so I would say, hey, would it be okay? Now might not be the right time. It might not be in the budget, but is it okay if I stay in touch with you and let you know next time there's a sale or next time there's an opportunity? Because I just really don't want you to miss out. And I think that this is going to be absolutely life changing once you get started on it. Like, honestly, I just hope. And by the way, here's the thing, share your personal testimony or share a testimony that relates to them, right? Because I'm going to be like, oh my God, like, I can't tell you the difference that I felt after taking this product, right? It's a game changer for me, for my family, for my kids. Like, I want to share that with the world because I never want to go back to feeling the way that I did before. Right. So it's noon. I have about 5 minutes that I can answer questions. It's okay if I answer a few questions for you guys. If you have any, you can unmute or you can put them in the chat. Do you have a rule of thumb? This is a great question. Okay. Do you have a rule of thumb on how many new messages you send each day or week? I went crazy sending messages and got overwhelmed with responding. So that's why, and so maybe you said this before I talked about it. That's why I do the 10 messages in 10 days. And then you're only doing 10 a day and you can see who's interested and who you can move the needle forward. It's great to have a CRM and be able to plug people into that, but if not, have a day planner or have an Excel spreadsheet. Like, you have to have a way to keep track of them. But if you go ham and send like 500 messages, it's going to be real overwhelming responding to them. So it comes in consistency. The other thing that if you don't want to do it that way, the other thing that I recommend, because we can't keep up 100 messages in a day, right? Like, that's ridiculous. We have lives, okay? But you could keep up 5 messages a day and be consistent and create a new habit. Right? So if you do that, then it's easier to bring people in. And then again, my goal is just to add 5 people to my list every day. Does that happen every day? No. Sometimes 3, sometimes 2, sometimes 1. But my goal is 5 new people on my list every day. Yes, Lisa.
Hey, this is
Hi.
awesome. How are you?
I'm great.
I'm actually in Canada. I'm in Ontario, though.
Ah,
And
nice.
it's not very nice and sunny and warm out here. So,
Ah,
okay, when you like someone comments on a post or on a reel saying, "Oh my God, like, can you send me information?" And you have conversations about it, and then they don't buy. And so then, like, you have a sale coming up and you say, "Hey, like, I'm not sure if you're still," like, I often will say, like, "Hey, I just wanted to circle back around, say, you know, did you find something for your problem, or are you still, or like, are you still interested in the product, or have you found something that is working for you?" Right? To see. But how many times if they don't respond, how many times do you respond if they aren't responding back? Like, there's got to be a
great.
point where
Yeah,
you
that's a
go
great question.
10 times, 20 times, once a month.
Well, is it back-to-back non-responses? And I want to just also shift your perspective a little bit. If that somebody came to you and said, "Hey, have you found another product? Hey, have you this?" Like, again, I just want you to shift in your conversation instead of, "Hey, just coming back around." That's you're coming back around on your follow-up list, right? Like, you're just a number on my list. I'm just coming back around. Whereas if you say, "Hey, we haven't spoken in a really long time. How are you?"
Okay.
and leave it at that. "Hey, I'm doing pretty good, it's been a really, really busy summer." Oh man, I can relate. My summers, like, we have to learn how to be humans first.
Right.
And I
Okay.
know that we have to slow down before we speed up. I know that this takes more time, but I can promise that if you have these back-to-back messages that nobody's responded to, it's because they feel like they're just a number.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah.
Right.
Perfect. Thank you.
And if they're not responding, like, how you can tell that their little face is there if they see the message. If they're not even seeing the message, here's a sneaky trick for you, all of you. If they don't even see the message, it's probably because your message has gotten buried in their inbox. You can change quick message saying, "Hey, been so long. How are you?" Right? So that's the message they can see. And you can change the color of the conversation in under the profile. If you click the profile at the top, you can change the color of the conversation and it bumps it up to the top of your messenger so it doesn't get buried anymore.
Just by changing the color?
Mhm.
Genius.
Sneaky.
That's awesome, though. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. So I think that's really what it comes down to. And if you keep hammering people out, it's gonna be hard to turn that conversation. You might have already and not in a bad way, it's just learning, right?
Yeah.
You don't win or you lose, you win or you learn. And you might have burned those market, and it might be that they could never afford the product, but you won't get to know that until you have conversations with them, like until you really get into it and like really get to know them. Because like I know like what their dog's name is, what their kid's name is, like that was part of being a hairstylist, that they wanted to come back, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, it's funny because I've had people that haven't bought the
Have someone
product,
off mute.
but I've
again.
actually stayed in touch and
All
we
right.
talk on a regular basis. So it's funny. So, you know, they may buy one day, they may not, but we've sort of become friends through the process, which it's funny. Some people that's easier to do that with than other people.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And like, look, you're dealing with a million different personalities of people that you've probably met, like whether they're friends of yours. I'd probably wait till I saw them and offer them a taste of whatever product it is. Like if it's somebody I'm going to see on a daily basis, I'm going to say, here, try my product, and hand them something, right? But if it's somebody that I've just met online, I don't know their background, I don't know who they are. It takes a long time to build that relationship with people where I would feel comfortable and be like, dude, seriously, it's time. Like it's time to get on the happy train. It's time to get on the weight loss train. It's time to get on the whatever train, right? Like we're going to do this together.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Make sense?
Yep. Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else got a question? Christina's just about ready to head out. We could go for one more. Anyone else out there, if you want to raise your hand? All right. Gosh, I want to just take a moment and I want to thank you so much, Christina, for, you know, just for everything you gave. What I really recognize, guys, in Christina's training is talk about actionable things that you can take away right now. I hope that you took a moment, and we're going to let you right now, if you didn't, go back up in the chat and copy and paste those messages that she wrote. You know, I often think that, like she said, you know, a script is a great way to guide you into seeing what people that get results like Christina, people that train results like Christina use. And if you need to massage it a little bit to make it your own, you can do that. But Christina, power-packed information and so many great actionable tools that people can take away right now. It was incredible. And I just want to thank you. Thank
My
you so
pleasure.
much. All right.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And enjoy your time in Canada. I'm going up to Washington myself in about a week, and I can't wait. So guys, real quick now, just a couple little things as we wrap up today. So we're wrapping up today, day 4. Remember, tomorrow, day 5, we've got our overcoming objections, and then we've got 2 additional speakers in the VIP. For those of you that have heard what, you know, really resonated with you today, if you're somebody that's looking to elevate your business, you know, be connected with 2 coaches, Megan and I, both with expertise in this area of digital recruiting to help you ignite your business. I'm going to drop the application right now in the comments. Go ahead and apply. I will say this, that there are so many of our students that, you know, they come and they want results. They come and things maybe aren't exactly where they want things to be. But what I will guarantee each one of you is that we will work with you one-on-one as well as in a group setting to help you get the results you want. So take a moment now and apply. And gosh, Megan, anything else that we've got to go over here today?
No, I'm just
Can I,
excited.
well,
It's
can I
fabulous.
ask you a question?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, if you go through the $3,000 program, well, that I need a different mindset, but I don't know how to do it.
Okay. So I think the best thing to do is go ahead and apply or reach out to Megan and I in Messenger so that we can answer any questions that you have. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else out there have any questions or anything that we can do for you before we leave here today? Was this not fabulous, you guys? Did you love today? I love today. And gosh, let's give it up for Christina. She did an outstanding job. And gosh, get a good night's sleep. We're on day 5 tomorrow. I always like to kind of see who shows up. These are the diehards. These are the ones that really end up making huge impact, right? You're taking advantage of all the free training, this incredible VIP upgrade that, you know, you invested in. And I'll tell you what, I have to say that I've gotten so many notes myself and so many things that just little tweaks that I can make that are going to make a world of difference. And I don't know about you, but the percentages that Christina shared around follow-up, you know, I do know some of these things, and that is why I spend my time in follow-up. I spend a ton of time there. And the reason why I do this is because I know the percentage between 5 and 12, you know, touches. I know how this works. And I want to share one last thing. This is a little story about follow-up. You know, it wasn't that long ago that I've known someone for a long time that was in one of my first businesses. And it's kind of a big joke between her and I, because I think I followed up with her like 16 times, literally 16 times. And I knew this would be something that she would want to take a closer look at, but I also knew that she was a busy woman. And I shared this with you guys before, that I always assume people are busy. People have full lives. So I never take anything personal. If they don't get back to me right away, or, you know, if they don't get back to me, sometimes even at all, but I don't stop doing what I know is right for me. I want you guys to think about that right now. Who are you and how do you want to show up? I don't let the second or third, you know, interaction stop me from doing the 4th and the 5th. I don't even think about the response of the person, lack of response, or if it's short or anything. All I do is say, Joan, how do you want to show up? Joan, what's your next step? Remember, we talked yesterday all about being attached to the steps, about being attached to the process, not the result. So Christina amplified what Megan shared, as well as went right into really supporting you with closing practices and follow-up practices that will literally transform your business if you simply take action. So everybody have a fantastic day. Oh, Jason, yes.
Oh, I was just going to tell a quick story if there's
Yeah.
time, like
We have time.
really short. So, to your point, in the last company that I was in, one of the top leaders in the company, in fact, still top leader in the company, he's from Seattle. His friend was from BC, his upline that enrolled him. And he reached out to him every time he was in Seattle. They went out to coffee. Every time, he said, it got to the point where I thought he was just flying down to see me, because he was in town all the time. And he sent him a box. You know, it's wellness. So he'd send him a box of shakes and supplements. And he said, I'd get the box, and on the way to the house, I'd throw it in the trash. For a year and a half, he would send him, like every few months or so, he'd send him another sample pack or something. He'd throw it in the garbage. And one day he thought, you know, I could lose a few pounds. Maybe I ought to eat this stuff. And he did it. And he was hooked, right? He finally said yes. A year and a half, he kept coming back. And he said, because of that one connection, because I didn't stop following up, I earn an extra $1 million a year because I didn't give up. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
fortune is in the follow-up.
It really is true. And yeah, I mean, I could share with you guys story after story after story. And you know what? Tomorrow, I'm going to start off by sharing a little something with all of you and the group as a whole about something that I wished I wouldn't have done that taught me one of the biggest lessons in network marketing. And you guys will probably be like, whoa, but you know what? I'll give you a hint. It has to do, Jason, with somebody that ended up benefiting so much from being a part of network marketing at the end of the day. And what they were able to accomplish was incredible. But it started with me making what I would call a huge, well, let's say it this way. It started with me not doing something because I was in fear. And it was one of the biggest lessons that changed me and how I operated in network marketing. And I can't wait to share it. All right, guys, have a beautiful day out there. And Megan, again, great job. Christina, great job. And thanks to all of you for showing up today. And we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.